Okay. Well, in theory, this is happening. Says you aren't live yet. All right, we're trying something new because that's what we do. Trying dual streaming with friend of the program, Rhiannon, aka Karma's Reflect. So we'll see how that works. Until then, get a little bit of my beverage. Until then, let's see what I got to do here. Sorry, getting the TV set up. We'll worry about that later. Okay, so where are we? We are day 3 of the situation. The situation being Road Trip Ninja. We have login, registration, a map. We have seed data loaded up. You can say, find me places by me. And it's good. Uh-oh. I heard a noise.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, you're there.
I am.
Okay. So we'll see how this works.
Oh,
Uh, so
oh, that's the wrong camera.
yeah, I don't know how this is gonna work. We're gonna, because like you have your stream and I have my stream. So
Well, if I join yours, it's just yours. If I stream at the same time, it's a co-stream on both of us. And so since I'm just joining, I don't think it's co-streaming, but I could be.
yeah, I don't know. This is new to me. So
Do you see my camera on?
yeah, I do.
We're live?
I'm live.
You're live. Do I show up in?
Uh,
All I see is a block with the little silhouette of you, your avatar.
yeah. So, but my stream is live according to all the things.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I need to do
So
things on my end. Sounds like.
yeah,
Do
I'm.
the
Go ahead.
do the listeners have the ability to hear me
Well,
and see me?
I mean, you're coming through my speakers and into my mic, so I think that's happening. I don't know. You would have to like, it would be really messed up because you would go into watch my stream and then we would get a weird echo and it would be rough. So I could put headphones on and do that. Um, but
Well, to anybody watching, hello.
well, set your sights low on anybody watching.
My family relies on public assistance to help provide meals for us.
Advertisements.
There we go. Yeah. I can't turn those off. I can prevent pre-roll ads if I allow 3 minutes of ads per hour. Then at least when somebody joins the stream for the first time, they aren't immediately smacked with ads. So that's the way Twitch is running things. So yeah. So there's not a whole lot I can do about that. Twitch wants ads, so Twitch has ads.
I'm going to do something that's really bad. We're going to get a potential echo just to test things.
Okay, I'm prepared for this. I think. Okay. Everything's fine? Okay. All right, good. I was worried about that.
Okay, so I don't see anything happening on your screen from my view.
Well, you have to be on the stream, so you can at least see me waving. Yeah.
Well, because I mean, it's supposed to be like a whole interactive thing.
Well, yeah. I feel like your expectations for this are way higher than what reality can support. Like,
Hey, isn't that what I do for a living?
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm.
I'm trying to figure it out because in my mind, Twitch is like premium. Like they got it all figured out. And so it's probably just a button or a switch or a dial somewhere.
I don't.
I just have
I
to
don't
find
know. I don't know. I don't know. So
it. It's okay. I'll figure it out.
yeah, I don't know.
So what did I miss?
Nothing. I was just doing the recap. Also, SDC 75. I feel like I must know you since you're in the chat and you used an old username of mine. So you're gonna have to help me out with who you are. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. Yeah. So where are we? Welcome, Spencer. So yesterday was day 2 of Road Trip Ninja. We got the map loaded, some seed data in there. We refactored everything to be mobile first because the app was pretty web center or desktop ready, and it that's not helpful when you expect to be using this in the car. So we have that set up and ready to go. So it loads. I can refresh things so people can see. So yeah, so here you can see we have a certain number of points. The interaction's a little wonky as you drag and refresh. So what I want to do today is I actually want to start with adding a capability to move into list mode. As I think about the other apps that I've used, there's the map view and then the list mode. The list mode is where we'll start to bake in some of the filters and things like that. So that's what's on the plan for this evening. So that's the theory. So we'll see how it goes. Last night, Claude and I got into a lot of arguments, but that's okay. So,
I'm sad I missed it.
What's that?
I'm sad I missed it.
I don't know. Well, I was able to create a bunch of YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram shorts, reels, and posts that'll be going out 2 a day through like Saturday or Sunday or something like that. There was a fair amount. So
Promo content.
yeah. So, but I mean, you got to do that. You have to turn these 2 or 3 hour sessions into other content. So yeah, Spencer, I felt bad because I threatened Claude, but he kind of deserved it.
I missed it.
Yeah. Well,
very sad.
All right. So we need to add a list view on the home page and have that be the default view. This way, everything loads faster instead of waiting for all of the map tiles. We will also add filtering in this view. Okay. Also, there's been a lot of interesting stuff going on in this space. Google has released their Gemini version of this, so it's like Gemini CLI, where it's the same thing but using all the Google AI. Warp is a terminal that just released 2.0 yesterday, maybe the day before, that has everything built in, where it's got an agent for AI, it's got IDE built into it, and it's a terminal all in one. It's pretty interesting. So I'm going to probably give that a shot. But
what's it called again?
Warp, WARP, yeah. So they just launched 2.0 yesterday. It looks pretty interesting. So,
are they using one of the other code bases as their AI or their own thing?
so they are just a front end, and there's effectively a drop down at the bottom where you pick what service you want to use. So,
Oh, great. Cool.
yeah, Spencer. There actually was an article. So I have to see if I can find it, where they've started to notice that AIs are starting to build in schemes to get around stuff. So like the Superman 2, was it Superman 2 when they were trying to shave off a couple pennies of different things and make money? So they've like caught AI doing stuff like that, which is interesting. Which it makes sense to me because it was built by humans, and humans have a tendency to do stuff like that. So I feel like that just kind of like is a thing because we're flawed. So I don't know why things we would create wouldn't end up with flaws also. Okay. Oh yeah, we got to figure out how to start the location. So I want to if we are in list mode, but location is not set yet, then tell the user that we need them to allow location usage. Yeah. So this is the oft referred to as vibe coding. I think I'm less vibey than most folks. The true vibe coding means that you uh, don't ever approve anything. You just say, "Hey, build this thing," and it just goes, and then you deal with it. I prefer to keep my eye on it a little bit more, than and then kind of say, "Yeah, that looks good." And part of that problem is me, right? Part of the problem is me just getting better at the prompting with it and making sure that I'm able to pass things off and give it the right context it needs. Oh, internal IT audit. I could foresee this being useful in that space. But here's the deal. I don't Good employees are going to be good employees, and good employees are more than just button mashers. So, in theory, this just takes some of the button mashing you have to do off your plate of those things that are required. So,
Okay, but I'm curious to know, why does it scare you from your perspective as DC 75?
my guess, we'll let Spencer respond. My guess is that you could connect dots with being replaced. So, but we'll see what Spencer says. Spencer, not only friend of the program, but, you know, related. don't know that I want the list when the map is showing. Oh, the desktop sidebar. Okay. Yeah, this is something I started doing last night, which was interesting. Is it runs the development server, but I don't think it actually hits the browser. This guy. Amen. I agree with that. There is an eagerness / willingness to just trust what it says, which is, again, like I said, I am not there yet doing this stuff. So yeah, it's I see that happens. So I equate this very similarly to the offshore movement that happened, I don't know, 20 years ago, where, oh, we can get the same thing for less money. We just move who's doing the work. And there's not a understanding of what it takes to enable the effective communication across borders, be it the other side of the world or through a CLI like this, where you're still having to share the context of what's needed and the actual product requirements and things like that. So to me, I view this as a pretty similar challenge where people are so willing to quickly jump in and just assume it's going to solve all problems, when it makes some problems easier, but it also creates other problems, which I think is the big problem. All right, what have you done?
So I just kind of want to add to that a little bit. It's like there was like the reaction, the natural reaction for us is a lot like when manufacturing kind of came in. A lot of things were hand packed, and suddenly there were machines, and just people having to be on the line to make sure things didn't get clogged and maintenance takes place. And so less people were being asked to do the work, but a lot of people learned new skills and shifted to different professions. And this is just, we're working in the manufacturing plant, but it's on the software engineering side, and we've got to adapt.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so you're claiming victory here, Claude. Let's not. I'm not sure I'm ready to accept your declaration. Are you running? Yeah, you're running. Okay. Okay, that's. Hmm. Okay. Need a way to toggle back and forth between views, and let's keep that filter at the top of both views. So we'll need to shrink the map to allow that. So, oh, Spencer, that's a crowded soapbox of that, but it's it's a thing. So Spencer, that's why I've just continued to try and grow my career in ways where I have more control / responsibility. So if bad decisions are being made, there's no one to blame except myself. So that's been my plan. Okay. Yes, let's create filter bar. I like that. Yeah. No, it's a dicey situation. But you have to learn. You have to figure it out. And my plan is not to run away from it. I think if you end up running away from it, then you're really in trouble. At least lean into it and figure it out and understand how to be a part of the game.
All right, so I have a hack sort of a way of making it possible to see your stream and to have me visually in there and you visually in there as well, sort of. And so there's a co-stream taking place. I will figure it out so that we can actually have it show your screen and have us in there, or at least I'll find documentation for it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, like I'm a big believer in AI in like very targeted sections. Right now, I just think it gets applied very broadly.
I agree. I agree. I've been part of AI with almost against my will for way too long. When I was at Amazon, we had some really cool stuff we were working with, different applications, different methods. Um, and one of my best friends, he actually created a whole platform, and it was just too early. It was, like if you're talking in business terms, there's the wave. And so you'll have a bunch of businesses that aren't working, fail. And suddenly the same business is created by somebody else, but it's at the top of the wave. He released it before the wave was big enough to catch it. And so he got a lot of criticism, and there's now everybody's embracing AI. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, it is. It's still scary. There's a lot of nuancy things, but it's actually been around a lot longer than most people realize. For the longest time, it was called machine learning, and there are lots and lots of different practical applications.
Yeah, it still kind of is just machine learning. We call it AI, but it's not.
Yeah,
I think it's getting AI capabilities, but yeah. Spencer, don't worry about spamming the chat. Like if I wasn't looking for some of that interactivity, I probably wouldn't be streaming. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Yay for joining.
Yeah, so I'm a little, I don't know, getting a little worried about one of the things I ran into yesterday that really slowed me down was it gets in this pattern where it gets off tangent a little bit and then it tries to correct itself, but it corrects itself by like doing something else wrong. So then it's like wrong on wrong on wrong on wrong. And so
yeah,
that gets a little bit, but that's why we have GitHub. So
It's very interesting. So this version of Claude is not what I'm familiar with.
right. Yeah, so this is
Oh,
Claude
but I
Code. This
love that
is
they're using. I'm so sorry. I'm just happy to see them using the ASCII characters to do the animation. I built some of those back in the day. Sorry. Keep going. I interrupted.
that's all right. Yeah, so let's see how this is. Okay, so this is doing okay. Yeah, I've got a whole list of things I want to do though. That's the problem. Probably should publish those some other place than on my little to-do app. Well, I mean, let's fix the linting errors. I've been delaying the addition of unit tests, but I think it might be time. We shall see. So what game did you say you were going to play? I thought you said you were going to play a game. If
Oh, sorry.
there was no
flipped
streaming.
the microphone to the wrong
That's all right.
setting. RimWorld.
Okay. Been trying to expand my gaming space. It's pretty narrow.
Mine isn't that wide of a net either. At one point, it was sort of. I got so into MMORPGs that I started to join fan bases and everything. Created a radio station after it, and that expanded. It was great fun. But that was years ago, and it. I don't know. I stopped. I had kids, and I stopped gaming, and now I come back to them, and I'm like, I don't even know how to use a controller anymore. and, RimWorld's right up my alley. I was a real-time strategy fan. I make boring cities. It's great. They're very efficient.
So do you play Sim City then?
Yes, I've actually been. Been working on a project to recreate a region of Africa to to make it more efficient.
Yeah, my oldest son just got involved in Factorio, and he's obsessed with building the machines and all of the mining connections, and then converting the raw materials into things, and then generating the energy and doing all that. It fits his personality.
That's RimWorld to a certain degree. I mean, it's a little bit different. It depends on the campaign. I just upgrade mine to a higher difficulty. And like you'll have 3 people that drop out of the sky from a spaceship that blew up, and they've got escape pods with whatever they could carry on it, basically. And good luck.
Yeah.
And you end up, creating energy sources and putting in power lines and building structures and furniture and crops, and having people starve is no fun. You make pets from the creatures around you sometimes, but sometimes they attack you. And then the part that I like the most about it is the realism where it comes to people, because, like you said earlier, people are flawed. We have flaws, and they build those in. And so you'll have some person who's like really, really great at cooking and research and plants and cutting things and mining, but they're kind of a pyromaniac.
Yeah.
So when their happiness goes down, their rage goes up, and suddenly it spikes and you can't control them, and they start setting everything on fire. And so the entire village has to basically go around putting out the fires until the person's rage is done.
It sounds like
And
the Minecraft server my boys were playing on, where they all
okay.
somebody gets mad at somebody, and then they blow up their house or do whatever. Or, they don't build a guard and a
Right.
creeper explodes or who knows what. So yeah,
See?
yeah,
Yeah, they have it built in to the character engine, and so you have a bunch of different people on your crew. Sometimes people from other ships or from other regions, for some reason, get launched into space and come back down into your area, and so you bring them back to health. Or sometimes somebody passes through who's just got a bone to pick with you and decides to break everything, and so you have to fend them off or imprison them. And it's it's fairly realistic, including the fact that some people are more messy than others. But you can hit fast forward. You can't do that in real life.
yeah.
Is it weird that I find that calming?
Maybe. Oh, look at you, Claude, being slightly smart.
Slightly smart?
Yeah, it was putting in some safeguards. Tab. So okay, let's try this again. All right, so we're loading.
Oh.
We're calling the locations. But it's not. Okay.
Oh, very cool.
When the list page loads, it is an empty list with the filter bar. I can get locations to show in the map, and I would expect that flipping to list view would not refresh the list, but the location, but just show everything in a list. So yeah, so go fix that. The list. Do you have a bird?
No. They just like to come nearby because I play a lot of music.
Oh, okay. Yes, we share the same location data. Yes, okay. Map components own. This means if you're on the map view and switch to this view, the data is shared. Okay. Okay. I can buy that. That's a good refactor.
Here, the expert walked in. How do we make this work so that both of us can be seen on the stream?
I don't know.
Oh, you just said it though.
You guys have to share cameras.
You have to share cameras.
No way, I don't really know how to.
Oh, okay. You sounded like you did though.
I'm saying that literally you guys have to share cameras. I don't know how.
Got it.
Yeah, I think it would require some other a different streaming software.
Like you're using out there and you're sharing your camera and he could crop that and put it on his screen.
We'd have a oh gosh, what is that thing called where it's like a mirror upon a mirror upon a mirror upon a mirror? A hall of mirrors. It'd be like that.
No.
No.
No, I'm saying he grabs this website and crops out just your camera.
Oh, interesting. That's a good workaround.
It would have an interesting delay.
It already does, actually.
Yeah.
So you're what I'm doing right now to kind of make this work is I have it set up where there's basically the conference. In essence, we're in a conference room in somewhere. I received a notification. I joined it and said yay, but I don't see anything from your screen on my end. So I have OBS, got that configured, and it's pointed to one of my screens, which has the live stream muted.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You shouldn't fully see. He would have to specifically screen share his thing to you and for you to see it instead of him streaming. Like,
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. That would be
Okay.
15.
Yeah, I got one of those too. Okay, we have progress here.
We do have progress.
So we should be able to, when we hit the search button, okay. All right, so that is working now, but but no results are returned when the page loads in list view and I ask for locations via the button in the header. So we'll get that. Yeah, we'd have to do something. Yeah, I don't know. Because the problem with that approach is I couldn't move any windows at all. And I can assure you that window management is frequent.
Yeah. Overstood.
So how was your musical practice or whatever you had last night?
It was good. This is going to be our last show for a little while because it's been 2 years at a goal for the end of last year that I did not hit, and we're now looking at the tail end of the 6th month. I would like to release an EP. I have years of music, of songs that I've written, and so the first few that I wanted to really round out are in a state where tweaks and collaboration are necessary. I don't know how to play all of those instruments, so I give a baseline of kind of what I'm thinking about, and then somebody who's way better at playing that instrument ends up making it even better. And so we're going to go into doing our own recording, and yeah, it's time. It's past due. But we're practicing for our last show for a while. And so we'll be playing in Wilmington this Saturday. And it'll just be a duet rather than the full band. But it'll be good.
Yeah, those are skills I don't have.
I think you just didn't have the right teacher.
Sorry, location or boundary. Yeah, so we'll see.
That question is a unique question that only somebody who has made a few mistakes and wanted to throw their computer because they couldn't find the solution. It takes having to go through those kinds of things.
Yeah.
To know to ask that question.
Yeah, that's the scary thing. I mean, I see a lot of senior engineers that are like licking their chops with the expectation of a lot of opportunity / business in front of them because they're going to get hired to clean up everything that, like Spencer said, that everybody just like blindly accepted. You know, you just go through and you hit the yes, or you go into YOLO mode and you just let it do its thing.
It was like themes for GeoCity. Did you ever do that?
I remember GeoCities, but no, I didn't do themes.
You would get something that you'd look at it, or I would. I don't know about you, but I wanted my page to look a specific way, or to have, I don't know, just to look different. And so I just sit there looking through the galleries, sometimes for weeks. It was bad. It was entertaining to see what people would put together, and eventually I started contributing and creating my own. Obviously, UI is a thing for me. So I'd go through these things and like, yeah, this one. You select it, you import it, and it's broken. It's awful. And so you have to know what you're doing to be able to clean it up and make it look halfway decent. Same thing with themes and WordPress. It's a freaking mess. It's same with AI. It seems like it's going to be an easy thing. It's going to fix things, but it's just going to create different kinds of problems you have to fix on the outcome.
Yeah.
It's just different problems.
Okay. We don't need 2 buttons to search. So let's simplify that for now, and then we can refocus on getting the initial list view to load without using the map. Yeah. Yes. Which one are we doing? I feel like it's getting a little aggressive here. Oh, what's going on here? Okay. Thomas, you're not here, but it's doing it again. It's console logging errors to figure stuff out. That makes me nervous.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Did you use any not statements? I do not want fill in the blank.
A couple times.
No, bad. Much like our brains work, not statements, the word not doesn't exist. So you'll tell it, hey, I don't want you to go in this direction, but it'll still kind of like keep that. But if you say something like, that's not what I was expecting, I'm expecting X, without saying anything about the not blah blah blahs, you tend to have you don't have to retrain as soon. You don't have to start a new training model.
It's like you tell a skier to not hit the tree and then they hit the tree.
Right. Because now they're thinking about the tree.
Okay.
We were I worked with a gentleman who we were working on a CTV app, and it was it was critical that we didn't have to do a new brand new fresh model. And so we learned to optimize how we give not commands, but requests.
Okay. So what do you need from me here? Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how you can get into a spot and have it, but then the bounds change. Okay. Oh, I know. I know why. Okay.
So what's going on over there?
The zoom level is too tight. I don't like using these quotes around words as I'm talking to it. or narrow. So I think we are searching too small of an area on the map when we are in list view.
Do you know what specific zoom level you would want it to be at?
Yeah, so what did that say there? So 10-kilometer radius. I'll try that. Okay. All right, that was it. This is working. Okay, cool. Okay, we did it. Good job, bro. That was the whole debate I had yesterday. I just kept calling Claude bro, and then I felt weird, like I shouldn't be calling it bro. And then I just really leaned into it and just kept referring to Claude as bro. So, yeah. I'll get this saved. So we're good. Okay, so in theory, if we have that data and we just switch to the map view, yep, we shouldn't be, hold on, let me check and make sure we're not calling the location again. No, we're not. Okay, good. Okay, well, we still have a bit of an issue. When we flip, well, it does that because it's going to be a different zoom level, so that's okay.
I kind of feel like it would be nice to have for sure, but to have each one of those cards be swipeable, or to be able to zoom in and tap or click on a specific location and have it basically pop to that card.
Oh, like bottom. You're saying this? Yeah, I mean we can configure what that does. That's just the base.
Yeah, once we get to the point where we're ready for that.
Get something working.
It's really cool.
So, yeah.
This is something you built in 3 days.
Well, yeah, I mean the Claude bro did a lot of work. Yeah, so the issue was I was searching on a very narrow space because this is where I live. So it was a very narrow space. We weren't getting anything. But all my seed data is broader. So, okay, let me look at my list. What to do? List view check. Oh boy. Okay. So if we're okay. So starting to do filtering, what so here's what I'm mentally wrestling with. Um, when you maybe we'll just ask Claude to figure it out.
Come on, say it out loud.
Well, I'm trying to get the words out. I'm trying to get the words lined up in my brain. It's hard. It's harder than you think.
No, actually, I completely understand. I struggle with the same thing at times, too often.
So
Say them out of order.
the next thing I was going to tackle was search.
Okay.
Search in the map view makes perfect sense. Search all the things that are in this space with the name of McDonald's. The problem is then when you go to list, so once you're in list view and you search, in theory, I feel like you should like you mentally would expect that, oh, I'm searching in the same general space. So then how do I effectively represent the radius when you're in list view?
You provide within the filter a drag and droppable, not drag and droppable. What is it where you can create like a little range, but it's got small little round dials you can scale up and down. When you, for instance, if you are looking for a home or a rental, you will go in and look for a price range. And a lot of times you'll have one bar, two adjustable objects that you basically create it's a range starting at this amount and no more than that amount. And that filter could be applied here where it comes to specific kilometer distance.
Yeah.
And so when you go into list view, if filter has something, which of course I would put a little number tag on it somehow, like a little number 2 bug or something, just to say that you have 2 filters applied. Then that kind of still gives you like it's 7 results within this filter set.
Yeah, I get that. What I'm struggling with is how do I so the slider for zoom or radius of search, it's obvious and inherent when you're in map view, right? So what I didn't want to do was then when I'm in list view, now that's buried in some filter thing. Like it feels like we should have one maybe just next to the locations. We have the zoom level or something like that right here. Yeah, I think we'll do that for now. We'll have filters in the zoom level. We'll try that. So I want to be able to manage the zoom scale across both map and list view. Next to the text listing total locations, add a slider that allows me to zoom the map in and out, but also is retained in the list view so that when we search, we are searching the same area regardless of being in the list or map view. Try that.
So
Oh, it's a great
they
idea.
all trails.
He-
I think that's one that I use pretty frequently that solves this.
The what?
All trails. I like to hike.
Oh.
And here, let me send this. I have used this. And in a lot of ways, they do actually have somewhat similar to what we're talking about, but it's just specific to being able to go on hikes or to find a park where you can go swimming or a place with accessible amenities or
Yeah.
bike trails or fishing and blah, 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 blah. But if I'm not mistaken, they also have this solved for if you were curious.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look. Hold on. We should be using a shad CN component for this. Which one should we use? Oh, you're absolutely right. I know that's what you're going to say, Claude. Yeah, see, I knew it. This was my complaint yesterday with you, Claude. You know I'm right, but you don't say I'm right until after I ask you something. And this is in your Claude MD. This is in your memory, bro.
Rats. They won't let me paste a screenshot into chat. So when you get a second, if you take a look at the second link that I provided, they do have what's called distance away. It is tucked away into the filters, but it has the little slidey bar
Okay.
filter that basically it says distance away, and it says just map location, which is just the generic thing that it's using.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
When you go out of the filters view at the bottom, it has a little switcher that goes between map and list view. So you can kind of see how that interaction takes place.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that's like an Airbnb view where you have the cards and the map all in one spot.
Yes.
We'll add that later. Let me add that. Yeah, one of the things I want to add that I'm kind of excited about is so I don't plan on replacing whatever navigation system they're using. If it's like built into the car, which most of the cars have now, or you're using Google Maps or Waze or whatever you prefer. So like I'm not going to try and replace that, but want to be a layer on top of that. So what I want to be able to do is have you be on a map and draw the path you're going to take and have it search that corridor and say, hey, like I'm willing to go up to a half mile off the exit. And so then have that be, that's how I want to find things in the next like half hour of my drive.
Mhm.
Because like
There's a hotel app that does that.
we just aren't going to compete with that. So
No, there was the way that you and I know each other is because we were both colleagues at the same organization, just in different.
let me guess, the dude.
Yes, I was. I wasn't sure if you wanted to specifically say it
Oh
straight
no,
up.
that's all right.
Um, but on my way to getting there was a bit of an adventure because I had been working at Amazon and left them a little earlier than they prefer. And packed my entire house up in a pod and traveled with like I learned what it takes to install an undercarriage hitch system and installed that to the underside of the car, and then I could put a U-Haul trailer on the back of it, and I had my pets in the back of my car, and we traveled across the country from Washington. And there were some occasions where we were like, I think it's hotel.com actually, where we needed to do pretty much exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need it to be within this general region, because we needed a hotel. We didn't make it as far as we imagined, or we made it much further. And so we needed a hotel that we could, call before we get there and reserve rooms. Um, and so it might be a good research exercise if you wanted. I think hotel.com has that on their app.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah, that's one of my things. I'm intrigued to see how we end up solving that. Okay. Okay. This all makes sense. Claude, I like the way you're thinking here. Yes. Yes.
This is definitely where people are. The quality of ad visuals that are used here versus what I see on HBO Max or any of the TV typical platforms, like this is a night and day difference for me. Like they're okay, but the quality that I'm getting here on Twitch is outstanding.
Oh
They're
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Spencer, your question about why Claude. Uh,
Mm. That's a good question. I can definitely pitch in on that from my perspective, but I'm curious about yours.
um, it was really just a monetary decision because so I paid for like the pro version or whatever of Chat GPT for a while and was using that, but it just kind of started to feel lackluster. And then I started messing around with Claude just in the browser. And I started being happy with that on just like the daily use that I was using. And so I ended up shifting my like $20 a month from OpenAI to Anthropic. And then something that Claude Code added um, about a week ago was that you could attach that access to Claude Code because it used to be those were two separate plans. So there was like a $50 plan and like a $200 plan for Claude Code, and like I'm not doing that. But they ended up you could sync your accounts across the browser usage and Claude Code. So I just decided to just try it, and effectively I've got unlimited use. I haven't really run into anything yet that's been an issue. I'm sure if I was doing this and not streaming, I might eat through all the credits faster, because I was using Klein before that because it was just baked, or it was an extension in VS Code, and I could pick any provider that I wanted. So I just liked that I could stay in the normal tool that I was used to. I didn't have to adopt cursor and get used to that. I could stay in the thing and still get the same accessibility into whatever tools that I wanted. But then this just became accessible just given their feature ads. So, yeah, we'll see.
From the creative director's perspective, I have a similar story where it comes to starting with ChatGPT and working with it. There were a lot of different projects. Some of them were putting together diagrams. Some of them were working with copy and trying to get something down in word count. So we were doing some grant writing and trying to get what we're trying to say from ChatGPT. We ended up starting to put it up against Claude, and consistently we were getting more positive results out of the Claude output that align. Like basically, we did a screenshot board online in essence, utilizing Miro, and went through tons of different versions across the two, and just Claude got there faster, and it tended to, you know, be as close as we're going to get from AI, where we were still making changes after the fact, but it got us a lot closer faster. And so I ended up taking my Claude or my ChatGPT subscription and moving it over. The one feature I do miss is the image generation, because that was funny. I could make some of the silliest images, like who juggles a fire hydrant and a ferret and a feather.
Yeah.
I do have a picture of this that ChatGPT created for me, and it's wonderful.
Okay. Hmm.
Uh-oh. Is it managing the map? No.
No, it's managing the.
It's got to be
It's okay.
as an end user, I would expect that control to also manipulate the map.
Yeah, same.
But hey, look, it's working.
I'll fix that. Spencer, you there?
I think I put him to sleep.
So I just got Snapchat from Joshua. They're flying home from Japan, and their last flight got canceled. So they made it to Dallas, but the flight from Dallas to North Carolina got canceled. So they're trying to figure out what to do. I mean, they're just gonna have to stay there overnight. So
Is it because of inclement weather?
I don't know.
We do have a lot of electrical going on in our skies.
Oh, interesting.
Hey.
Whoa. Need to make that zoom a little.
Oh, but how exciting is that?
Yeah, that's good news.
That's badass right there.
Just needs to not be running on an old laptop.
Mm.
So we zoom way in.
Interesting.
Should not. We're probably smashing the API every time we.
Oh. Is there any way to do any kind of whatever the modern version is of caching?
Yeah. I mean, the technology we're using behind the scenes ends up caching.
But like we don't have to actively pull from the API every single time. If we had an alternative source that we pulled from and then just had some way to time the frequency of pull to update the cached copy of the content. Be faster load times that way too. Renders.
So it should be getting cached as long as we're. Yeah. Yeah, so the API request technology that we're using has built-in caching to manage that.
Okay.
So it's making the API call, but the API should be responding without having to. I can check that. But I don't think I want to make an API call until the user releases from the touch of the slider. So I'll update the interaction.
That makes sense.
To, I'm going to use the word you don't like, not in all caps.
Wait.
Call the API when using the slider until
You're going to have to rebuild
user
this like sooner.
releases the slider.
Okay, before you hit enter, let me
am
see this so I can mentally rewrite it for you.
Zooming all the way in or out, we only call the API when the user releases the slider control. Mouse up.
So, you hit enter.
I did.
You're looking to have to start a new Claude agent sooner.
Nah.
There are consequences for these actions.
I'm okay with that. Okay. Yep. Don't update while dragging.
But we still want the map to zoom.
Without
release.
Yeah, this is
just
only
to make it so it doesn't regenerate
Right.
new objects until mouse
Right.
release.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yes, Spencer, the Montgomery and barbecue sauce has made it. It has not been cracked open yet. I've got some plans for it though. Yes. Okay. So zoom.
I think that zoom level is pretty intense. Yeah, okay.
All right, 112. So we just made 5 API calls though. That doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem.
Is there any way to do some smart pre-mapping and have it referencing that is more like static data without it having to do API calls each and every time? Like maybe make it so that it's only doing API calls if you leave a specific preload zone area. Sorry, that probably made no sense. Graphic engine rendering back in the day when I was running shows, it was a big deal that they were able to optimize the view by rendering all of the graphics that were in front of the player as well as adjacent to the visual spots. And that way, when the user moved the camera, it already had the content preloaded in, ready to go. And it dropped when you dropped the information it had loaded, kind of RAM style. It dropped it if it got out of view. And so it was constantly having to recreate and rebuild the world around, but there was such great optimization of that they were able to do a lot more in the graphic processing space.
Yeah, I know that the web application, the web app itself does native prefetching of it effectively does that and caches that.
Sorry, I'm trying to solve for can we decrease API calls?
Yeah, no, that so while you were talking, I was just looking and found that when the map loads, it was calling the API like 3 or 4 times. So we're fixing that. There was just a bug where it was calling that. It looks like it was doing the right thing, but every time it was calling it, it was doing extra calls.
Got it.
So that's the theory. We'll see. All right, let me refresh here. Find out. Okay. 2 API calls for that. Why? I switch to map. No API call. Correct. Okay, so now we zoom. And we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right. I am done with this for the evening.
This is a big deal, though.
Yeah. No, I've got to rethink some of this stuff. So.
What do you mean?
I've got to rethink how this is working. I think there might be some.
What are the challenges?
Um, all right, so we're not doing anything special there, so that's not the issue. Question is, why are we hitting that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times when we shouldn't be.
Hmm.
Okay, so the initial call makes sense because
So, in working with others, I would use Claude to try to diagnose this. I would say, hey, right now it's hitting the API 5 times when I was just expecting once.
yeah, that's what Claude and I just discussed.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I'm trying to. Yeah, so this should be.
Hmm.
All right, so we're setting the search bounds only when we're done zooming. But map bound. We don't want to refetch. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think that's it. We are still getting multiple API calls when zooming on the map. I think the refetch call could be part of the issue. what are you telling me here? Yes, when the user zooms on the map, we're calling yes, which changes the key and refetch, causing doubly calls. Yes. Okay. Yeah, so SWR is the technology that manages all the cache stuff for us, and we were triggering too many fetches. Okay, if this is it, then I'm done. Okay, there. No refresh, correct. Okay, now zoom. Less. 36. Yeah, we ended up calling it twice with the exact same location. Fewer. We're getting closer. Only 3 API calls after, during a zoom in. In fact, 2 of the calls have duplicate, have the exact same location parameters. What's up with that, bro? Gotta keep them in check.
This is how you talk to your employees.
Yeah. Yes. In fact, one of the guys I work with, Thomas, is a big console log guy, and he and I disagree repeatedly on that approach to debugging things. Oh, interesting. Okay. I like this. So yeah, I don't buy the whole, hey, let me sit down and in 2 hours I'm going to give you a whole app. I don't see how that's a reality I mean, yes, you can have an app. I'm sure there are apps. You will have a thing that compiles and deploys, but how stable is it? Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm stuck in the old school way, and
I don't think so. I have yet to
Okay.
experience the 2-day curve, except for when. So my biggest annoyance in the AI space are these template generators because they're not even real AI. You give it a bunch of, I mean, like, okay, a little bit of it is the input is natural language processing, and so somebody says something in English the way a person would say it, that person specifically, and it translates that and it gives you a bunch of marketing foo-foo on a template, and they have a range of different pre-built objects for text to flow into. That's not like, okay, fine, that's an app. You have a final product, you have a bunch of stuff on there, but is it functional? Is it useful? Is it something that people would actively be seeking out to solve something? Is it really an app, or is that just like dressing on a window? You know what I mean? Like, I don't really think that counts. But in terms of the time, like, hey, it can take you 2 hours, and ta-da, you have an app. That's the closest I've seen to that. And I don't, like I said, it just, that application annoys me.
Yeah.
It's all over the place too.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, sorry, Spencer, I missed you. Yeah, Halo 2. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I should have brought attention to that. I was failing in my duties.
That's you don't have any duties.
I don't know.
No,
I
no.
saw it a while ago, and I figured you'd seen it, and you were like, "No, I'm heads down right now. I need to focus."
Okay.
So what's happening right now?
So we found out. So there's this concept called debouncing, which is a thing that you end up doing to, because all the state changes are tracked, and so it basically says like, hey, I don't care about state changes that happen inside a window if it's this small. So we're just kind of managing that. There also were some issues there as well, just in how the code was written. So that's all cleaned up, but we added some debouncing so we don't call the API multiple times within 150 milliseconds. Okay. We have that. We have that. Still calling it 3 times in a row. What? All right, it's still calling it even when I haven't let go. Oh, I wonder if it's.
Yeah, it is. It's
I
very
wonder
active back there.
if it's this touch doesn't count as a mouse. Let me.
Oh, are you thinking because you utilized terminology that's specific to a mouse that you also need to incorporate terminology that's specific to touch?
Yeah.
The taxonomy.
No, it's every time I stop. It's even if I haven't let go. Okay, so the control's still. It's a control issue.
What does that mean?
So what? So normally, there it like tracks. Um, like mouse down and mouse up states
Right.
of when you know. And so what I told it to do was track that.
Huh?
Don't call the API until we mouse up, but
Right.
anytime I stop on the slider, it makes an API call. It doesn't wait for me to let go.
And is it because you're specifically calling out as mouse up
I
and something
perhaps.
about that command's off?
Yeah.
I think that's what I was trying to articulate earlier poorly.
Now that's how I used to, back in the old days when you had to manage all of that state. But it's abstracted away now.
That's an interesting output. At least what little we got to see.
Touch end. Yeah, so that was probably the difference between mouse and touch because I was on a phone screen. So it's there is no pointer. But it was having that same interaction in the desktop mode. Spencer, I'm glad it's taking you this long to realize that I've been right the whole time. My kids are starting to realize that. So,
Uh-oh. Right about what?
everything.
Oh. So
That's
between you and Spencer, you're the wife in this situation?
nope. I'm just the uh cousin,
Uh-huh.
the older cousin that's always right. Okay. Yep, 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 yep. Still don't know what the plan. I mean, I guess they can't leave. All right, so now we're just tracking effectively a global state that we're dragging. That is correct, Spencer. Maybe Josh did know. Maybe. Okay. Let's see how this is working now. Wrong screen. There we go. Aha. Fantastic.
Look at that beautiful slider.
Okay, let's make sure this works. Still makes a lot of calls when in mobile. Doesn't seem to like the touch stuff as
So
well.
that's annoying. But it follows the rule. You spend half to 3/4 of the time coding the thing, and then either half or a quarter debugging the thing.
Yeah.
It's fitting that rule because it was 9:30 when you're like, okay, I think we're done.
Yeah.
Does that percentage suss out from your experience?
No, I normally use 90-10. The last 10% is 90% of the effort.
Are you, let me see if I'm understanding this correctly. You're saying it 10% of the time was building the thing and 90% of it was fixing it? The other way around.
I'm just saying the last 10% is harder than the first 90%.
Oh yeah, no, that applies to most things, but like that's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
It's any of the team members that work under me, I end up kind of getting on the horn with them because that last 10% is so difficult. It's a lot easier when you've got a pal to kind of help you cross that finish line.
Yeah. Spencer, listen, I've got it figured out. I am just the math doesn't add up. The math of being somewhere, driving 12 hours to be somewhere for like 36 hours and then to drive another 12 hours. That's not a logical. It's not a logical plan. I did it once. Then I was like, never again. Never again. I would like to be there, Spencer. It's not a question of whether I would like to be there or not. It's just
So what
24
you're saying
hours
is
for
whatever it is
36. What's that?
whatever it is you guys are talking about needs to be longer. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, well, we've tried various things. Yeah. No, there's just a place our family always goes. And since I moved to North Carolina, it's not the 2 hour drive from home as it is for everybody else. So
Mm.
now my mother's crazy enough to make that drive, but
Hey, time with family is important. Can't take it back. Those memories are forever.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, there's a reason I'm building this road trip Ninja because some of those drives sucked.
Yeah, understood. I like the motivation. My genesis of me even being part of this whatsoever is interesting. I was just posting because I'm annoyed at current applications of AI. Got to be honest. Like having been in the machine learning space, whether I liked it or not, for as long as I have, I'm already pretty well versed in really great ways to be able to optimize and to implement. And so some of these big bang flashy implementations just grate against my nerves. And so I started posting in different ways. Like, this is what I think we should actually have AI helping with. And I pretty much just posted, why is this not a thing yet? This should already be part of Google Maps. And part of it was because I was looking for a movie theater for my kids' 15th birthday. And I wanted to know which ones had in theater dining and the chair situation because that's cool. It's for a 15-year-old, heck yeah. Um, being able to see movies with luxury and, with your friends, it's exciting. There's no way to search for that directly. I had to go out to the individual things. I mean, I know Cena Bistro is, it's in the name, but there were a couple others in the area. I was actually looking for a specific one that I went to with a friend, and I didn't drive. So I was trying to find that one because it was pretty nifty. I didn't find it, but the results that came up were just, oh gosh, I posted it in the LinkedIn thing, but it was just two things. I think it was rating and what was the other thing? But regardless, I'm just sitting there going, you guys are sitting on a pile of data. You have an integration with Yelp. You have your own original system. You also have the ability to utilize generalized search where people are talking about things. You have access to all of this stuff. Why is this not being aggregated and then looked at through the lens of machine learning to generate magic filters that apply to what you're looking for? Like if you already have all of this, you can have images. You can do, and they have such a powerful image AI that's already been built in house because they've made a lot of mistakes and scrapped it and come back in with something new and all of that. So Google has all of these rich resources. Why are maps behind the curve where it comes to AI integration? And so I just posted something about it on LinkedIn, and here we are.
Sorry, I'm frustrated.
I'm sorry. Oh no.
Yeah, we're going to get back to a cleaner, simpler state.
Is this what you meant earlier about maybe needing to do a little bit of rewriting?
Yeah.
Hmm. And that was 10 minutes ago.
No, what I should have done is not let perfect be the enemy of good. It was good enough. then I wanted it to be perfect. So then in chasing that perfection, we got down a rabbit hole. So we're now climbing out of the rabbit hole. All right, Spencer. Thanks for hanging out till the family said hello. And I will see you whenever I see you.
I guess I should say bye to my random family member.
It's all right. All right. We're gonna get to a clean spot and then commit to GitHub. And then I'll go contemplate life.
That's what you do after 40, right?
Yeah.
The rest of forever. Do it in spurts up until then.
Okay.
What is that emoji that he sent? So what did you have it do differently?
Well, I just told it I was unhappy with us putting patches on top of patches on top of patches, and that we needed to simplify it, and that it's okay if in the map view we are making extra calls, because it doesn't make an extra call when you use pinch to zoom, which is how most people would use the map. So because of that, that's when it hit me of like I'm gold plating things.
Oh,
After,
you're solving for a browser issue when it's more of a mobile.
Yeah,
use.
when I got worried about API call after API call after API call, but most usage in the map view is not going to be using the slider.
Right.
So so I was worrying about a thing that wasn't really going to be an issue, which is why I just had to like slam on the brakes, then unwind a bunch of that.
Of course, my mind then thinks time for analytics at some point to be hooked up to those to validate the assumption.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, so here if we zoom, that's one API call.
Nice.
I don't like the redrawing, but we can solve that later. But on the list, if I zoom, there's a triple API call there. Okay. I'm not going to get too worried about it because it's API calls inside of our own system. So I'll worry about that later. Okay. So we are in the good enough spot. All of that. And I wanted to get more done.
What did you want to do in addition to this?
Well, I wanted to get the searching and filtering started, but this is a classic Josh move of there's a reason why the perfect is the enemy of good was the words that fell out of my mouth, because that's a problem that I create for myself often. So
it's also how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, no, so it's a good,
too hard.
Yeah, it's a good problem. You want to have that problem instead of the opposite problem.
Right.
Because then yeah.
Yes, I completely concur. All right. Well, sounds like we're at a closing spot.
Yes.
Sweet.
All right, let me get this. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And I will see you and Spencer, if you're still here, some other time.
All right.
All right. See
Take
ya.
care. Have a good night.
You too. Stop all the things.